Oh my goodness, you must hear this unbelievable tale about a truly phenomenal woman named Loretta Johnson. Our saga opens with her flawlessly conducting her grandparents' 60th anniversary party with a breathtaking elegance unlike anything ever witnessed. She is a genuine visionary, an event planner of such artistic conviction that she specially commissions majestic cherry blossoms all the way from Oregon. Can you even fathom that degree of commitment? Just amid this idyllic setting, her lovely mother, Susan, gently nudges her about a vital conversation she must have with her boyfriend. And Wayne, well, you will scarcely believe it, was down by the lake, hearing from a friend just how extraordinary Loretta is. His pal was posing the most self-evident question in all of existence. Why in the world has he not yet asked for her hand in marriage? Wayne's defense was merely that he was awaiting the absolute most flawless and hallowed moment to ask her to be his wife. Right then, in a pulse-pounding theatrical instant, Loretta shows up, declaring they must speak immediately. A dream job offer has come from Los Angeles, and she's already said yes. It was an utterly heart-rending goodbye, and the future they had envisioned together simply disintegrated into a million fragments. 2 unbelievable years flashed past, and Loretta has forged a completely new existence for herself as a thriving event planner in the glittering metropolis of Los Angeles. She is so exceptionally gifted that her superior, a woman named Amy, is dangling the most astonishing career advancement right before her very eyes. A call from her mother delivers a swift pang of homesickness and a gentle entreaty to return for the hometown spring festival, yet Loretta feels it's simply impossible. Her professional life was her entire world at this moment, you see. However, fate was weaving the most magnificent, messy, and majestic tapestry for her future. Oh, and a flash of absolute panic. An enormous inflatable bounce house begins to rapidly lose air. Yet our undeniable champion, Loretta, leaps into action without hesitation, mends the motor, and rescues the day in the most magnificent manner. Now utterly grimy, she must switch into her boss Amy's frock, a detail that proves to be unbelievably crucial down the line. For it is at that very moment, my dear, that the hugely influential attorney Paul Parente discovers her dropped detailed event binder and approaches, utterly fascinated. Spotting her in Amy's attire, he commits a colossal blunder. He assumes she's Amy. He presents her to his dazzling fiancée, Michelle, and the pair are so taken with her that they wish to engage Amy for an immensely significant undertaking. Loretta is so utterly dumbfounded that she fails to utter a single syllable to rectify this enormous misconception. Her then boyfriend, Howard, insists this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance and that she must seize it without question. Then in a spirit-shattering turn of events, her boss, Amy, bestows the very promotion Loretta coveted so deeply upon a completely different person. Can you sense the piercing anguish of that unbelievable disloyalty? Wounded and fueled by a fervent need to prove her worth, Loretta makes an exceptionally bold choice. Wholly assumes the persona of her boss, Amy, and proceeds into the meeting with Paul and Michelle by herself. Their proposition was completely preposterous to orchestrate a rustic, action-packed weekend retreat. The whole objective was for Paul, a consummate urbanite, to win over Michelle's father, the fabled billionaire adventurer Arthur Wellerson. They were convinced Amy was ideal for the task, thanks to Loretta's tale of mending an engine in her youth in the most flawless, deliciously ironic twist of destiny. Loretta jets back to her hometown of St. Francisville and reveals this perplexing scheme to her marvelous and encouraging mother. Her mother, while at first utterly stunned, consents to play a part in this fabulous and intricate deception. However, to make this venture succeed, she required the help of the one individual she had been diligently evading, her former flame, Wayne, now the proprietor of the town inn. The atmosphere between them was palpable, thick with an electrifying current of unsettled history and fiery emotion. Wayne put up a great deal of resistance initially, but the staggeringly large deposit check Loretta presented was an offer his beleaguered business simply could not decline. As they started to strategize side by side, the old spark between them began to rekindle in the most exquisite, complex, and glorious fashion. She even uncovers his pristine, unused passport, a silent and poignant symbol of a voyage he intended to embark on after her departure. The most emotionally devastating moment arrives while Loretta is sifting through an old tool chest in the barn. And there it was, my dear, hidden away like a whispered vow from a time gone by, an engagement ring. That dawning truth that he had intended to ask for her hand all those years prior will absolutely splinter your heart into a million fragments. Before she can fully absorb this monumental revelation, the guests appear, and Paul looks comically awkward in his starchy new wilderness attire. The moment the retreat commences, Wayne tosses Loretta's meticulously planned schedule aside for an authentic, untamed escapade. He guides them on a truly arduous trek, propelling Paul to his utmost breaking point in the most amusingly nerve-wracking fashion imaginable. Meanwhile, the magnate Arthur possessed a single driving ambition: to catch sight of the magnificent and unbelievably elusive ivory-billed woodpecker. And Loretta and Wayne engage in a fantastically heated debate over her careful planning versus his improvisation, over genuineness versus fabrication. Wayne astutely points out that Paul can't maintain a false identity for the remainder of his days. Then, under a canopy of the most dazzling stars imaginable, Loretta confides in Wayne why she felt compelled to depart their little town to experience the wider world. Just when you believe the situation cannot possibly become more entangled, Paul intercepts a call on Loretta's phone. On the other end of the call is the actual Amy, and the entire elaborate falsehood is revealed to him in a flash. Paul is utterly floored, but he surprisingly implores Loretta to carry on with the deception, terrified of exacerbating the situation with Arthur. On the last day, during the bird-watching excursion, something genuinely wondrous and unbelievable occurs. It is the most improbable character of all, Paul, who actually hears the cry of that singular, hard-to-find ivory-billed woodpecker. Defying all expectations, he locates the bird, and in that mutual moment of sheer, unvarnished delight, he and Arthur at last forge a genuine bond. It was an unbelievably gratifying triumph, a connection forged in the most unforeseen and lovely manner. However, the cosmic plot twists were far from finished. Oh no, not even close. A vehicle rolls to a stop, and who should emerge but Loretta's L.A. boyfriend Howard, arriving totally and entirely without warning. A look of the most profound, soul-crushing devastation crosses Wayne's face as the reality dawns on him that Loretta is seeing someone else. To uphold the initial falsehood, Howard, being an actor, embarks on the most ridiculous and dedicated role he has ever played. He presents himself as Pierre, an ostentatious French art curator, because that is the sort of man he pictures the actual Amy being with. The whole affair descends into the most glorious, zany, and hilarious farce imaginable. That evening, beside a warm bonfire, Howard becomes so immersed in his Pierre persona that he goes so far as to propose to Loretta. Cornered before the entire group, she is left with absolutely no alternative but to say yes, and you can practically hear the universal sharp intake of breath. However, this ludicrous proposal compels Loretta and Howard to at last have an honest conversation, leading them both to acknowledge their relationship is not founded on genuine affection. They sensibly choose to part ways, but the unbelievable wreckage has already been wrought. Loretta, Amy's most achingly heartfelt toast to her daughter, Amy. The burden of her conscience at last becomes unbearable, and in a potent surge of feeling, Loretta rises to her seat and admits it all. She lays out the whole staggering truth for Arthur, who goes from bewildered to absolutely furious at being so thoroughly duped. It all appeared to be thoroughly and irrevocably destroyed, a complete and utter catastrophe. But Loretta is no quitter, and she devises the most ingenious final gambit conceivable. She charters a small local aircraft to fly Michelle in, orchestrating a direct confrontation with her headstrong father. With a mighty, freshly discovered bravery, Michelle informs her father that she loves Paul and intends to marry him, whether she has his approval or not. It is this exquisite proclamation of love that ultimately sways Arthur's heart, and he grants the couple his genuine benediction. Once the commotion settles, Arthur takes Wayne aside and shares the most lovely, moving anecdote about his late wife. He impresses upon Wayne that a woman like Loretta is an exceptionally precious find, and that he must never allow her to slip away. Returning to Los Angeles receives the major career advancement she believed she desired above all else. Yet the triumph rings unexpectedly empty, and her ambition now seems as if it were meant for a completely different person. And that is when, my dear, the most exquisitely romantic moment conceivable arrives. And her doorbell chimes, and standing on her doorstep, Wayne himself. He boarded an airplane for the first time in his life, vanquishing his greatest terror for the sole purpose of seeing her. He gazes into her eyes and declares that he loves her beyond measure and is prepared to join her wherever her life may lead. And he professes her own boundless love for him in return, and they are at last gloriously exactly where they were always meant to be. But the tale does not conclude there, because it becomes even more unbelievably flawless. We glimpse them once more, poised before their magnificently restored inn, now serving as the stunningly beautiful setting for Michelle and Paul's nuptials. It was the most majestic, soul-satisfying, and perfectly complete return to the beginning. Oh, in the middle of the ceremony, Wayne spirits Loretta away for an intimate, pulse-pounding moment meant only for them. He leads her to the exact spot by the lake where their shared story had previously fractured, and he drops to one knee. He says he cannot be sure if the moment is perfect, but he knows with every fiber of his being that he wants to share the remainder of his days with her. Oh, he expresses his desire to journey across the globe with her, to witness every single sight she has ever longed to behold. And through tears of absolute, unvarnished bliss, she says yes with a single wonderfully perfect stipulation. She will venture anywhere in the world with him as long as they always have their St. Francisville home to return to. They share the most fervent kiss as their future blazes more brilliantly than 1,000 suns, a genuinely flawless conclusion to the most phenomenal love story ever narrated.